Hi, it's Kara from Health, Home, and Happiness, and today we're going to talk about juicing. I'm going to show you how we do juicing in our family, and I'm going to tell you some of the benefits, and then at the end of the video I'm actually going to go into a little story about how I turn my children orange with juice. So stay tuned for that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your juicer, and so this is a cold press juicer. And it uses kind of a chewing technology, so it's similar to how your food is extracted when you're chewing it, and then it presses the juice out. The other kind of juicer, and the one that's a little less expensive and the one that we started with, is a centrifugal force juicer, and they're a cylinder, and there's usually a chute up at the top where it kind of grates the veggies as they go in, and then it spins it to spin that juice out. So these kinds of juicers are a little bit slower. They're a little bit more expensive, but they do get a lot more of the juice out. So I recommend starting with a centrifugal force juicer unless you are planning on juicing often and a lot. If you're just using it a little bit as part of a detoxification protocol, then you're going to want to start with one of the less expensive juicers. And yes, you'll have to pay a little bit more in produce, but if you only use it a half a dozen times and it never really works for you, you don't bother to get it out, you don't like the juice or something like that, just that protocol doesn't work for you, it's not worth it to invest in like a $200, $300 juicer just to use it a handful of times. So I recommend starting with like the $95, $125 juicers. There are those centrifugal force ones. And then if juicing is something that you are enjoying the health benefits from, you find it works into your life, you enjoy starting your day with a glass of raw juice, then upgrading to one of these higher powered juicers that takes a little bit longer is definitely worth it because you just get a lot more juice out of the produce than you do from the other kind of blenders. So the best way that I have found to use juice is to juice on an empty stomach. And so part of the reason why we juice and we don't blend is because if you blend up all these veggies, you have the fiber in there too, which your digestive system has to kind of like process that fiber out and get the nutrients from the juice out. And so when we juice, we're taking the fiber out, and yes, I'll show you how to use that in other recipes. We're getting the compounds from the plants in a really easy to digest form. And so it's a very concentrated without the fiber, which fiber, as we know, is undigestible. So it's something our body has to kind of sort out and get rid of. So we use the juicer to sort it out and get rid of the fiber. And then we just start our day with an empty stomach and just an immediate hit of easy to absorb vitamins, minerals, and other plant compounds, which there's so many. Like if you look on the PubMed or you look up medical journals, they come up with new compounds that are found in different fruits and vegetables all the time that are healing for diseases, that are good for our immune system, that are compounds that we didn't realize we needed, but we actually do. So all of these are found in plants. Juicing is a great way to extract those from the plants, especially if you have leaky gut and your digestion isn't great. This is a great way to just get that hit of nutrition right as you start the day. Another thing that you can do with your juicing is add a specific healing food. So you can get, this is ginger, but you can actually at some grocery stores, especially high-end grocery stores, you can get turmeric that looks like this. And you can just peel a little bit and put a little slice of turmeric, fresh or fresh ginger into your juice. And those both have anti-inflammatory properties. They both give a little bit more flavor to the juice, so just try a little bit, see what you like. Cilantro, if you are chelating heavy metals, like if you've had fillings removed that had heavy metals, or you otherwise have heavy metals in your system, like from vaccines or from exposure in or from environmental exposure, that kind of thing. Cilantro is great for actually binding to those heavy metals and pulling it out. And again, with juicing, we take the fiber out of this, and so it's just those plant chemicals that are, yes, they are also chemicals, but they're from plants, and they are perfect for detoxifying heavy metals and other different things that your body has too much of that's having a hard time processing. So you can try different flavor combinations. Carrots are nice and sweet. So a lot of times when we do mostly carrot, we don't have to add in any fruit. If you're using like a lot of spinach, or you're using a lot of cilantro or basil or the more savory, less sweet vegetables, adding in an apple or two adds some more sweetness. Some lemon can kind of brighten it up. Lemon goes great with our greens, our leafy greens. And then cucumber is a nice neutral flavor. It's slightly sweet too. Like cucumber carrot juice is one of our favorites. Having cucumber in with some spinach and some cilantro, the cucumber kind of mellows out the cilantro flavor and mellows out the spinach flavor. And so with juice, another thing that's great is if you just see it coming out and you try it and it's like a little bit too tart or it's a little bit too bitter, you can just go ahead and juice through another apple or something. Another thing I want to talk about is that when you do juice, you have to have a ton of produce on hand. And so like this whole bin of spinach, we'll juice this in probably 2 days for a family of 4. Or you just have like cucumbers, you have like a big bag of organic carrots from Costco is usually where I get my carrots from, a big bag of apples. And so if you find yourself like stocking up on produce, but then life gets in the way and you're finding this produce going bad, the best thing that can save your butt is a food dehydrator. So if I find that like, oh, I just bought 2 cartons of spinach, but I'm going on vacation, like I just spaced it that I'm going on vacation or I'm going out of town for the weekend, I don't want this all to go bad. So what I'll do is I'll just dump all this into the different dehydrator trays and then I'll dehydrate it overnight. And then you can't use this to juice again once you've dehydrated it, but it's great in like spinach dip, it's great in soups, it's great in all sorts of things. So that's how you can keep, if you accidentally buy too much produce or you're not juicing like you thought you would, or like some people can't tolerate as much juice as like they planned on juicing 3 times a day, but their body's just like, ooh, that's a little bit too much juice for me. So they go back to doing just once a day. If you find yourself with an enormous amount of produce and you need to not let it go bad, because everyone knows how much we hate for organic produce to go bad, then just pop all that in the food dehydrator. Carrots, you can run them through the slicing blade on your food processor, or just slice them really finely, toss them with a little sea salt, and put those in the dehydrator. That's a great way to save your produce as well. Apples, you'll see I choose Red Delicious apples when I juice because I don't love the texture of these for eating, but it doesn't matter for juicing. It also doesn't matter in the dehydrator. So if you've got like 20 pounds of Red Delicious apples because you found a great sale on them, again, you're not using them for juice as quickly as you thought you would, and you're afraid they're gonna go bad, go ahead and just slice those up. Because I think we've all been to where we start a detoxification diet, we start a new diet, and then we're just gung-ho, we buy all this produce, and then it all rots in the fridge. So that's how you can save it. If you realize you're not going through it, that's how you can save it. If you realize you're not going through it as quickly as you thought you would, just pop all that in the dehydrator. And so here's our story on how I turned my children orange. And this is something that actually I've seen other families do when they start juicing, is kids love carrot juice. Like, and then you're kind of excited. You're just like, oh, my kids like carrot juice. Like, that's awesome. I want to get all these nutrients in them. Sure, you're like begging for more carrot juice. Okay, here's some more carrot juice. So because it is so concentrated, we end up getting like 6 carrots into 1 cup of juice that a child will drink. And so you're getting all the beta carotene, which is what makes carrots orange. So you're getting all the beta carotene from 6 carrots into 1 little cup of juice. And that is something that if you're drinking that 3 times a day, even though it's good for you, your body just can't quite process that much beta carotene at all. And so I notice, I've done this to all 3 of my kids actually, is either when they start solids and they're really excited about sweet potato, or I'm juicing and I'm giving them a little bit of juice, it adds up so quickly. I don't think it's bad for you, but it's something that just like, they look odd. So the first thing I see is like their face gets like kind of an orange hue, and then their scalp is like really super orange because like we don't have any tan in our scalp because our hair covers it. So I've noticed that their scalp gets really orange. And there's nothing you need to do for it, just back off on the carrot juice, maybe start doing some greens or some even apples if you need to make it more sweet for them. Just back off and your body can process all that beta carotene in the next couple days. So that's my story on how I have turned all 3 of my children orange using carrot juice. Just something to watch out for. It's not harmful or anything. It's just something that other people might look at you like you're a little weird if you have orange children. So keep that in mind as you're juicing.